see a couple of people have joined us already, and we are going to start immediately. So Adam, please tell me when you can see my screen. All right, I think my screen is up now. Hi, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon from anywhere you're joining us today. Today, we're going to have an amazing discussion regarding why Scrum Masters earn more than project managers. And with me today on the call, we have amazing Josephine. So with due time, I'm going to introduce who we have here today that we are going to have this session with. Okay, but for the meantime, I would love to know you and where you are joining us from. So I am Chukwemeka, and I'm joining from Lagos, Nigeria. So just tell me your name and where you're joining us from in the chat box so that we just get to understand each other and know the angle we are coming from. Okay, let me see it come up. Let me see it come up. While we wait for others to join us, just tell me your name and where you are joining us from so that we can get to, get this session started. Fantastic. I can see a couple of comments. Mary from Kenya, an agronomist. Amazing, amazing. Adam from Abuja. Mariama from London. Chinwe from Abuja. Fantastic. I think Abuja people, they are winning today. Oninechi from Netherlands. Amazing. So we have people from Kenya. We have people from UK. We have people from Nigeria. We have people from the Netherlands. Amazing. So you can clearly see that we are cut across so many countries, right? So please, if you're just joining us, we are doing introduction at this moment. Just tell me where your name and where you are joining us from. Noah from Abuja. Fantastic. I said it, Abuja is winning today. Okay, I can see a couple of people on the call, but I'm yet to see you tell us where you are joining us from. I think it is very, very important that you do so, okay? So please, just your name and where you are joining us from so that we can get this session started. All right. I'm waiting for others to tell me their name and where they are joining us from while I get my screen in order. Okay, and another thing I would love to know is for you to tell me if today is the first time you are joining a session that we are organizing. Okay, so if today is the first time you are in our session, so just type a 1. But if you've been in our session before now, you can type a 2 or any number as the case may be. I'd love to know if today is your first time so that we know how to approach the discussion and know how I'll interact with everyone. All right, so please, your name and use a 1 to tell me if today is the first time you are joining us so that we can easily understand everything. Famous 1, that's fantastic. Famous, it's nice to have you here. It's really amazing to have you on the call today. Others, I'm still waiting to see your own comments so that it will help drive and shape how this discussion is going to be. Okay, I can see Olawale from Ibadan. Yeah, Chinwe 1, Noah 1, Olawale 1. Fantastic. That means we'll have a couple of people that today is their first time of being here on the session. All right, so while we are waiting for others to join us, because we're definitely going to have a lot of people here today, I want us to do a small thing for me to, understand us better. So if you can see my screen right now, you see a barcode and a link. So just, scan the barcode or just type slido.com and just, tell me what's your main reason for joining this session today. All right, so what exactly do you want to take out from this session that we are having today? Because these are the things that is going to help shape the discussion that we are going to have tonight. All right, so just type slido.com and just put in the numbers there, 1518293, or you can just scan the barcode and it will bring you directly to this exact slido.com where you can tell me what's your main reason for joining. So why I'm doing this off the chat box is so that I can know people that are actively with me and people that are just passively listening to me. All right, because these are the things that is going to, shape how the entire discussion is going to go tonight, right? So if you're actively listening to me, just scan the barcode and tell me what's your main reason for being here on this session. All right, let's keep it rolling. I can see one participant is currently typing, so you can just, just scan the barcode and you can tell me what's your main reason for being here. If you are just joining us on the session right now, we are just starting, okay? We are just trying to get to know one another, right? So you can see my screen, you can see the link there, you can see the barcode, you can use any of them to log in into slido.com using the numbers there and just tell me what's your main reason for being here tonight, all right? Because these are the things that will help shape the conversation fully. Can see one person have said that he or she wants to know more about a Scrum Master and what is the market projection. Amazing. He or she wants to know about Scrum Master and what is the market projection. Josephine, I don't know whether you are there. So if you are there and you are seeing my screen right now, you can see the direction that people want us to go tonight. They want to know more about a Scrum Master and what the market projection is for that exact domain. Okay, I can see 2 more people typing. So if you are just joining us, we are having a little, conversation. So just use the link and type in what's your main reason for being here tonight. I want to know what a Scrum Master does, basics for Scrum Master, what it is. Amazing, amazing. I love the way we are all, structuring our answers towards Scrum Master. It means that we read the topic for the conversation tonight. There are sometimes that you come to, Scrum Master program and people are asking you, okay, I want to know more about software development. I want to know more about so many things about blockchain development and blockchain engineering. But tonight, it means that we have people that actively read the topic for discourse tonight. So only 3 people has given me their reason for being here. We have over 20 people on the call, right? And the truth is, this is just a skewed data at the moment, right? So when we do data analysis most times, we would love to, have at least 50% of the data so that we can be able to make business decisions from it, right? But this is so below what a quota should be for us to make a decision. But that's amazing, right? Because someone said, curious about the difference about a Scrum Master and a project manager. Josephine, I don't know whether you're taking note of this. So someone said that he or she is curious about the difference between a Scrum Master and a project manager. And another person is saying, do Scrum Masters use AI technology? Amazing. Do Scrum Masters use AI technology? I think I'm just going to pick that right now. So the truth is that all professions make use of artificial intelligence, right? Unless the job you are doing is not intelligent. There's a picture that I saw somewhere that said that if your job is not a job that is intelligent, that means you don't have anything to be worried about with respect to AI taking over your job. But that's by the way. So do Scrum Masters use AI technology? Of course, depending on how you make use of artificial intelligence, there are a lot of artificial intelligence out there to help everyone make use of them, irrespective of the domain they've chosen to play in, right? So do Scrum Masters use it? They use it very well. Okay, I want to understand more about Scrum Master. Amazing, amazing. I want to understand more about Scrum Master. Fantastic. So clearly, why I wanted to use this so that I would know people that are actively following us. So even though we have lots of responses, it's just 4 individuals that have typed all this thing, and that's fantastic. Okay, so we are going to jump right into it, bearing in mind everything that we have said. I want to understand more about Scrum Master. Do Scrum Masters use AI technology? Curious about the difference between Scrum Master and Project Manager. That they want to know what a Scrum Master does and the basics for Scrum Master. And of course, they also want to know more about Scrum Master and what the market projection is. Fantastic submissions over there. So we're going to jump right into it. Remember, our discourse for tonight is basically to understand why Scrum Masters earn more than project managers. But everything that you have given us tonight, we are also going to inculcate it into what we are going to be talking about. So for the benefit of people that said today is the first time they are joining us on a call, we are Analytics, right? And here at Analytics, we are an educational technology company that help Africa and people of the Black community learn premium tech skills, right? And how do we do this? We basically lower the entry barrier into the tech industry and make it possible for everyone across the globe. If you joined us earlier, you notice that we have people from Nigeria, we have people from Kenya, we have people from UK, we have people from the Netherlands on this call. So no matter where you are, these are things that will help you to achieve, right? Because one thing about tech is that tech doesn't have any bound, right? Scrum Master in the UK is the same thing as Scrum Master in Africa, is same thing as Scrum Master in Germany. It's same Scrum principles and methodologies that they apply everything that they do, right? So here at Analytics, our offerings are also aimed at other diverse courses like data analytics, business analysis, data engineering, data science, financial analytics, HR analytics, cybersecurity, and of course, Scrum Master, right? And we have amazing facilitators that come from so many industries like the companies like McKinsey, Amazon, Deloitte, Access Bank, KPMG, UBA, InstaSwitch. Think of any company, right? We have a facilitator from there. And our students also get to work in these amazing sessions, in this amazing company, right? So just stay on the call. You are going to see all these places that our past students have had instances to work in. Okay. And what has made us different is that our courses are structured in a way that they are 100% practical, right? So it's not a class that you will join and it's 100% theory. No, you will get to work on real life case studies because we actually want to help you get into the tech ecosystem, right? And who am I? I am Chukwemeka, right? Basically, I've had words of experience across governance, risk, and control in the cybersecurity industry. And currently, I am the COO of Analytics, right? And I've helped close to 500 people with no prior tech background transition into the tech ecosystem and land their first job, right? My experience cuts across the banking sector, fintech, hospitality business, working in diverse areas like GRC, control, data analytics, and financial analyst, right? And I also have on the call the amazing Josephine. Josephine, are you there? I don't know if you want to say anything at this point before I do the honors of introducing you. Hi, Josephine.
Yes, yes. Hi, everyone. Good evening from my end. How we doing? Hi, thank you so much, Chukwemeka. I think I'm just gonna let you, do the introduction. There's so much to unpack this evening from my end, so go for it, please.
All right, thank you so much, Josephine. So Josephine is an accomplished certified professional Scrum Master, right? She has a decade experience using agile methodologies, and she is a senior Scrum Master facilitator here at Analytics, and she's helped 500 plus people with no prior tech background transition to becoming Scrum Masters, right? And her own experience spans across fintech, banking, and she's a pure agile methodology and framework implementer, right? She is also a speaker and contributor in the agile community. She's worked in edtech when it comes to teaching and education. Josephine is your go-to person, right? And she has wealth of experience from the financial sector. Personally, she has trained more than 500 participants. And tonight, we are going to hear everything that Josephine has to offer us, right? So just stay tuned on the call. We have a couple of things that we are going to be doing. And basically, we are going to start off with everything you need to know regarding Scrum Masters, right? So people have said they want to understand what Scrum Master is, what their responsibilities are, the difference between Scrum Master and project management. You are going to hear all these things, right? And then we're going to walk you through the pathway to becoming a Scrum Master. And lastly, we'll tell you about our upcoming cohort on 8th June this month. And we talk about the success stories, the growth internship program that we offer. And of course, by virtue of you being on this call, you have a special early bird discount. So just stay tuned while we walk you through everything that you said you want to know, right? I don't know, Josephine, are you there? You have the floor to, get the game started tonight. Hi, Josephine.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm here. Thank you so much. You've done a beautiful work, Chukwemeka. All right. Hi, everyone. I like my classes very engaging because what I'm going to be talking about is very relatable, and I'm excited anytime I have the opportunity to talk about Agile or Scrum. Okay. So before I get into the business of the day, I just want to get feelers from everyone currently in this class. When was the first time you heard about Scrum? Okay. Is this your first time of hearing about Scrum? Is it your first time of hearing about Scrum? Feel free to drop it in the chat box. I'm going to be looking at the chat box right now. So this is going to inform most of the things I will be saying. Okay. Is this your first time of hearing about Scrum, or you've heard about Scrum before now? All right. So I want to believe that I have very interesting people in this class, in this session. So we're all going to make it fun and educating. Okay, I see Mary. Mary Kimani say very first time. Okay, I feel you. Okay, iPhone says yes, first time. Temi Chokwe says my first time. Awesome, awesome, beautiful. Okay, so I know we have over how many people in this class? Okay, we have about I think about 23 people in the class or 26. So, guys, let's put it out there. Is this your very first time of hearing Scrum, the word Scrum? My first time. Tabitha says my first time. Awesome, beautiful. Okay, so while you're dropping your response, I think okay, I'll just leave the slide to you to Maker while I wrote. Okay, Emmanuel is saying heard it before but don't know much. All right, you're in the right place to know more about Scrum. Okay, so I see. Okay, all right. So you know what? I'm just gonna go right into it so that we can get to know more about Scrum. Now, I remember sometimes when people ask me this question and they say, "Hey, Josephine, what do you do?" I say, I'm a scrum master. I see this thing in their face, like, okay, a little bit of confusion, like a scrum master. They're still trying to factor, understand who is a scrum master, what does that even mean in the first place? All right. So we are going to try to decipher everything and unpack it. And we can't talk about a scrum master without saying, what is Scrum? Now, Scrum is an agile methodology that focuses on iterative and incremental development. You can always get this on Google. Let's break it down, guys. Let's speak very relatable English. Now, I know a lot of you are accustomed to the word project manager. So if I tell you before now that I'm a project manager, it's easy to figure out project manager. She manages projects, simple and short. Okay. So, but right now things have moved. So naturally, there's a project manager and there's a methodology of where project managers use in managing projects, which is the waterfall methodology. So if you see a project manager today and say, hey, how do you go about managing projects? What are the strategies of managing projects? The project manager will tell you, I use the waterfall method. That's my strategy. That's my winning mark. That is how I get to successfully manage projects. Now, things have moved. When I mean things have moved, the world is moving so fast. Remember that the COVID hit, and it seems as if it brought about remote working and a whole lot of, it ushered in a whole lot of things. And that's the same way things are moving in terms of the organizational dynamics. Now, a project manager understands and uses the waterfall methodology. The Scrum Master understands and uses the Agile methodology. What's the difference? I'll give you a very relatable example. So let's say you're washing clothes. You're used to washing clothes with your hands, okay? And imagine washing clothes with your hands and you have a heap of clothes to wash. So it's going to take you hours, a lot of hours to complete that, chore or that task that you've undertaken, which is to wash clothes. And when you're on that task, someone meets you or someone, reaches out to you or a friend and says, who am I going to use here? Okay, Temitope. So someone reaches out to Temitope and say, hi, Temitope, I see every day or every Saturday, or whenever you're washing clothes, it's really, really strenuous. Okay, why don't I buy you a washing machine? What do you think about it? And he's like, is that really going to do the work? And and your friend says, oh yes, Temitope is really going to do the work. And so they buy you a washing machine. So now what has happened, instead of washing with your hands, which is like the old method, which is like the traditional method, which takes so much time, which has a lot of rigidity, which wears you out, and say, you know what, do not wash your clothes with your hand. I'm going to give you a washing machine. So you put all of those clothes in the washing machine. And what does that do? First thing is that the washing machine saves you time. So while the washing machine is doing the job that you supposedly was doing before now, you have time to do other things. You have time to clean the house. You have time to attend to other chores. And that's the same thing, okay? So project managers use the waterfall methodology. And over the years, the waterfall methodology is no longer sustainable. Why is it not sustainable, you may ask? The world is complex. We're currently in a world where everybody wants things to happen now. We're in a fast generation. You want to have your food fast. Fast food, fast cars, everything is fast. Everything is instant. You go to the grocery store to buy anything, you want to get those items, pay for it, and you're out. You want to be in the comfort of your home and buy anything from the e-commerce store. Everything is now. Is a now world, and if it's a now world, it makes it even more complex because it's a digital world. And if you have the luxury, you're just going to be at home and get everything that you need virtually. Okay, so organizations over the years have seen that the waterfall methodology is not sustainable. In specifically, what are the things that they saw and say, okay, you know what, this is not working for us? One of the pitfalls of the waterfall methodology is that it is a sequential process, meaning that until you finish one phase, you cannot get to the next phase. So let's say, for instance, let's use food. I like jollof rice. I don't know if there is any food in the house here. If you're a food, you just put it out there in the comment section. So I know I'm not alone here. All right. So let's say you want to make jollof rice, and we're using the waterfall methodology to cook jollof rice, right? And you have ideally cooking jollof rice should not be an uphill task, okay? So using the waterfall methodology, waterfall is saying that if you must use this methodology to cook jollof rice, you must do it in bits, step by step. So the first thing waterfall is saying is that you're going to, let's say you're going to put your rice on the fire, you're going to parboil your rice. Now, when parboiling your rice, you cannot, with the waterfall methodology, you cannot do any other thing till you're done parboiling your rice, okay? The waterfall methodology using the SDLC, when I talk about SDLC, I'm talking about the software development life cycle, which is the life cycle of a lot of projects and applications that project managers undertake and even Scrum masters. Now, the waterfall methodology is saying you must finish one process before you get to the other. So imagine that you come back home and you're very hungry. All right. And your partner says, Temitope, I'm going to be calling you a lot. Okay. I hope that we're able to interact after the call. All right. So your partner says, you tell your partner, you know what, I'm hungry. I just came back from work and I want to eat jollof rice. And your partner says, you know what, Temitope, that's fine. But I'm going to make this jollof rice using the waterfall methodology. And what does the waterfall methodology say is that until a particular phase is done, you cannot go into the next phase. All right. So he or she puts tries to parboil the rice. Now we're waiting for the rice to parboil. We're waiting until the rice is parboiled before we can now say, okay, we want to even start frying the stew, want to start maybe cooking our meat, whatever meat or whatever protein that we are using. Now the agile methodology, which is very flexible, which responds to change, which is what a lot of organizations have keyed into it and is here to stay for a long time. If you want to use agile methodology to cook that same jollof rice, what does it entail? Agile is saying that we're going to do things in bits, okay? And we're going to do things in bits, iteration by iteration. When I talk about iteration, I'm talking about the rinse and repeat model. So this is how you cook jollof rice using the agile methodology. Instead of waiting for the rice to parboil, you have like 6 burners. So the rice is parboiling in one burner. You're trying to make the sauce in another burner. The other burner using it to make the stock. Okay, you have your turkey on the fire. You're doing a whole lot of things. And if Temitope is hungry, within minutes, using 6 burners, everything is on the fire concurrently. Before you know it, it's done. Jollof rice is done. But with the waterfall methodology, waterfall says no. If you must use me to carry out any project, it must be one step at a time, literally like you're climbing a staircase. So you're going to an elevated place and you have to climb a staircase to get to that place. Ideally, this is real life, guys. If you're climbing a staircase, you're going to take it one step at a time. If you're going to climb 2 or 3, you're going to like take 2 to 3 steps at once, you probably might fall down, hit your teeth on the floor and stuff like that, right? So Aja is saying if you must climb the staircase, it must be one step at a time. All right. So there's a whole lot of pitfall. What does it do? It takes time. So imagine a company. Let's say there was let's just say there was no Facebook. Let's just say there was no Instagram. All of these socials that we know that is very popular. And so Temitope has this idea of building a Facebook application. Why Temitope has the idea, you guys already agree with me that ideas don't stay with one person. The same thing you're thinking, billions of people are thinking about that same thing all over the world. And that's why sometimes you'll be like, oh, you see something, you'll be like, oh my God, I had that idea to do this thing. Oh, I had this. I mean, did someone hack my brain? I wanted to do it. I had this. That's it. While you were thinking, you were using the waterfall methodology to waste time because it's time consuming. Someone has acted with the agile methodology. So let's roll back a little bit, okay? So Temitope wants to build a Facebook application. Let's just say there was no Facebook, there was no Zuckerberg, and he had that idea, and he was using is using the waterfall methodology. What does this say using the SDLC? When I talk about SDLC, I'm talking about the life cycle, the software life cycle. It says that the first thing you want to do is to do a research. So if you have a project that you want to undertake, of course you know jack nothing about the project. So the first thing you want to do is research. I want to build a social media application to connect people all over the world. So you want to go do some fact finding. You want to research about it. Now, that's the first stage, okay? The waterfall methodology says, if it takes you 5 months to complete your research, so be it. If it takes you 2 months to complete your research, so be it. But until you complete your research, nothing moves. Now, Mary, on the other side, probably is in the US or wherever she is in the world, has this idea, same idea Temitope has. She wants to build a social media platform. Okay, so why Temitope is taking huge precious time? And you know something about taking your time and venturing into something you've not done before. There's this uncertainty, fear. And that's what waterfall, they say, take your time, take your sweet little time to do what you want to do. But Mary knows that, yeah, I have no idea about it. But you know what? I'm just going to plunge into it. I'm just going to start doing things in beats. I will not wait. That's what Agile is saying. Yeah, I don't have the full picture. I know I don't know where what the end goal is going to be, the outcome is going to be. I don't even know how this is going to look like, but I'm just going to go straight into it. So Mary is saying that the first thing she wants to do, oh, she's researching. While Mary is researching, she's getting a UI UX person to design the application. Things are moving concurrently. So why is taking time? But probably going to take 3 months to do his research. Within that 3 months, Mary has done tangible things and brought it out. Now, there's a whole lot to talk about. Now, I know I haven't talked about who a Scrum Master is, okay? Who is a Scrum Master? Exactly like the word implies, Scrum Master. You are a master of Scrum. You understand Scrum like the best way possible. You are an expert. What it means is that only you understand how to take a project and deliver it within a possible time frame and make sure that that project is successful. So in fact, just let's scratch that. You have good understanding of a strategy to get a project done successfully. That's it. And what are organizations looking for? Organizations don't want to waste time because it's all about competition. In the marketplace, it's very competitive because that same idea that organization A has, organization B has the same thing, and who gets to the market first takes the large chunk. It's all about the game of numbers. It's all about return on investment. So no organization is going to sit back and wait to use waterfall, waste all the time, money, effort, resources, when another organization has taken the bull by the horn, did a little bit of a prototype, and is out there in the market. But by the time you come to the market with your already made project, people are seeing you as a copycat. People are seeing your product as inferior. So what it means is that as a Scrum Master, you have good understanding of the Scrum strategies, the Scrum principles, the Scrum framework. Okay, so let's look at the Scrum events. Now, as a Scrum Master, understanding the Scrum principles, which will enable fast delivery of projects, is that one of the things you want to do is you want to engage in the Scrum events. Okay. Now, Agile is relatable to real life. There's something we call in Scrum the Scrum events or the Scrum ceremonies. These are events that must take place before we have an increment. What is an increment? An outcome. Let me break that down further for you. If you cook goat's meat, okay, if we cook goat meat, the increment in goat meat is that at the end of the day, you have goat meat. If you cook white rice, the increment is that at the end of the day, you have white rice, something tangible. If you wash your clothes today, the increment is washed clothes. So increment is that outcome, that value. Whatever you engage in, there must be a value. Now, how do we get this value? We use strategies, we use principles. Part of this principles is the Scrum event. Now, the Scrum event, we're talking about, when you're looking about the Scrum event, we're looking at the daily Scrum meetings, we're looking at the sprint review, the sprint planning, the sprint retrospective. Now, a little bit of breakdown, every career path has buzzword and terminologies, that's fine, but these are things that we can relate with. Let's speak the daily Scrum. What is the daily Scrum? The daily Scrum is an event that gives the Scrum Master an opportunity to inspect and adapt on the sprint goal. Now let's pause there, okay? Let's now bring it closer home. Everybody does daily Scrum. In fact, today you held a daily Scrum. What do you do every day? So every day, some people, single, married, is more like a routine. So you wake up in the morning, do your usual personal stuff, go to work, come back. Now the daily Scrum says that at the end of the day, you sit back and inspect. Justin, what have I done today? I set out to do 5 tasks. Did I achieve it? That is your daily Scrum. That is it. So you sit back every day. It's like you evaluate yourself. You evaluate yourself. Every day you set out to achieve a goal. You set out to do things. You have a to-do list. Today I'm going to do A, B, C, and D. Now, at the end of the day, today it's evening in Nigeria, just sit back and say, I set out to do 6 things. In that 6 things, what did I achieve? What did I accomplish? What am I doing? I'm inspecting and adapting on my sprint goal. What is my sprint goal? Probably the goal for me today that I set out this morning was that I'm going to teach some students Scrum. So I'm going to have 3 Scrum classes. At the end of the day, which is evening right now in Nigeria, I should be asking myself, just was that accomplished? Was your sprint goal accomplished? Now, the sprint review meeting is an event where the Scrum team showcases what they've been able to do. Now, there's something that happens in Scrum. In Scrum, we have something we call a sprint, or you call it an iteration. Literally, just like the word is, those guys, those athletes who go on the field to run, okay? It's just exactly what it is. Sprint is fast, it's short, and it's intense. So every time there's a project to work on, what does the Scrum team do? They pick 2 weeks or 4 weeks, okay? They pick a particular duration, 2 weeks, to say we want to, let's say the project, let me use something relatable. Like I said, I'm a foodie, all right? So let's say we have a project. Everyone on this call, we're working towards a project. What's the project? We want to cook jollof rice. So the project is going to take us 4 weeks, 1 month, okay? And the aim of this project, the goal of the project is to cook jollof rice. What's Agile saying? Agile is saying that every 2 weeks, we're going to be churning out value. So in these 2 weeks, we embark on a 2 weeks iteration or even a 1 week iteration. We say, okay, in 1 week, what are we going to do? We're going to cook goat's meat. In another 1 week, what are we going to do? We're going to make the sauce. In another 1 week, what are we going to do? By the time we break it down, getting value each week, before you know it, in 4 weeks, no matter, depending on the duration of the project, we have the whole project end to end. So the sprint planning, these are events that happen for us to be able to complete a particular sprint and say, now we have a value. Okay, if we committed that in this sprint we are going to cook goat's meat, at the end of the sprint we should have goat's meat. Very simple. That's our increment. All right. So, but before we have goat's meat, what are those events that should take place? The sprint planning should take place. What is sprint planning? You and I do sprint planning every day. At the beginning of the year, you plan how you want your year to go. You do monthly planning, you do quarterly planning, you even do daily planning, you do weekly planning. Because if you don't plan, you're obviously headed for failure. And that's it, the Scrum team plan. Okay, what is their planning? What does their planning meeting entail? What are we going to do this week? We have a project. The project is to cook jollof rice. How are we going to break down this project in bits? What are we going to do this week? Okay, this week we're going to make the sauce. What do we need to make the sauce? Okay, we identify what we need. We have tomatoes, pepper, all your ingredients to make the sauce. That is sprint planning. You and I do it. We have the sprint retrospective. The sprint retrospective says at the end of the 2 weeks that we have gotten an increment, which is the stuff for that 2 weeks, we retrospect. We look back. How well have we done as a team? Because Agile is all about continuous improvement. We need to keep improving. The Agile theory is saying it's based on empiricism, meaning knowledge derived from experience. And that's how we live our lives, basically, because it's a complex world. You can't actually say, you can say, okay, after this session, this is what I'm going to do in my next hour. Something may happen. It could be a contingency. Something just happened and your plans change. That's because we are in a complex world. Human beings are complex. So you are actually not 100% in control of what you want to do. And if that is the case, you need to devise a means to actually get value. Or else you're just going to sail like the wind and say, oh, this year, you know what, I intend to transition into tech. And you find out that the year has ended. You didn't do nothing. So what is that strategy that helps you do things in bits, working towards your end goal? At the end of the year, you look back and say, oh, I did something. Now I'm a Scrum Master. I've been able to transition into Scrum. Now I end better. So let's look at the next slide, Chukwemeka. So now we've talked about a lot of events. The next thing we want to see is how does the Scrum Master carry out his or her job? Now, the Scrum Master working in the IT environment, you're obviously not going to code. You know, I've got a lot of requests saying, oh, Josephine, I don't like programming language. It's really difficult. I don't like data. I don't like all of this. Scrum is the most easiest way to transition into tech without having to have any prior IT knowledge or even any programming knowledge. You don't have to know Java, Golang, JQL, name it. But you're going to be working with engineers. Why are you special? Why are you even a Scrum Master? Is that in the midst of those software engineers developing that application, you know the fastest way to get the application ready. Because the organization is thinking, how fast can we get to the market? We got to get to the market fast before anybody gets there and make the money and get the large chunk of the market share. So you have the strategies, you know it. You understand it, all right? So part of your day-to-day activities is coaching and mentoring. You know the strategies better than everyone else. So one of the things you're going to be doing is to guide the Scrum team using the Scrum principles. You're going to also ensure adherence to the Scrum principles. The Scrum principles, part of it that I talked about is the Scrum event. Before there's going to be an increment, before we say, oh, this is what we've gotten this week, this is what we've gotten the next week, you need to follow a set of principles. These principles over the years are tried, tested. If not, there's not going to be a job like Scrum Master. I'm not going to be earning what I'm earning today. And the demand will not be off the roof. You're going to be supporting continuous improvement. So what is continuous improvement? Let's say, for instance, I don't bake. I don't even know how to bake, but I enjoy cake. So let's say I'm curious about baking, all right? And I try baking. The tendency that the first time I bake is going to be bad, is high. It's going to be 80%, 90%, even 100. Probably going to burn the whole thing, or, ingredients, everything is just going to be messed up. But every time I continuously do the same thing, I get better. So Agile is encouraging continuous improvement. We do an iteration today, we learn from it. What did we do well? What did we do well? How can we improve on it? So that the next iteration, we implement the feedback and we get better, better, better every day. And what's this better every day? You and I see this thing, but haven't just understood it. Every time your application updates itself, that is that application getting better. The Scrum team are working continuously, effortlessly to make sure that Facebook gets better. The Facebook that you and I opened years ago is not the Facebook that is today. Every year, every time, the Scrum team for Facebook keeps adding new features. That is continuous improvement. Providing feedback and guidance. The feedback and guidance, a lot of you do this thing when you're about to download an application in your iOS or Android store. What do? You go and read review. You go and read those reviews. You read the review. If the reviews are bad, that's it, you're out. If the reviews are good, those things motivate you to want to download the application. That's the same thing. As a Scrum team, we're listening to the end user. You and I are the end user. When we are building this application, organizations are building applications. They're not building it for their family and friends. They are building it to make money, to bring it out in the public, in the marketplace, and make money off it. Okay, so let's look at the next skill, Chukwemeka. Let's look at the next thing, the skill sets and the day-to-day activities of the Scrum Master. You're going to be removing impediments. I just want to say that the Scrum Master is a soft work, but let's leave it at that. Okay, removing impediments, just like the picture here. What is impediment? This is big English. I'm not about the English. Those people who come to my class know that I'm straightforward, breaking things down. Let's say you're driving out your car. Okay, you went into a grocery store, and now you want to drive out, but there is a car blocking you behind, and you cannot drive out. So for you to be able to drive out, you need a person to move their car for you to drive out. That car that is blocking is what is called impediment. That's it. So your job as a Scrum Master is to enable the software engineers, the people who are actually doing the work, developing this application, to remove impediments. There are going to be a lot of impediments on their way. There are going to be obstacles. So one of the things you do also is to collaborate with stakeholders. You're going to, as a Scrum Master, your job is top management level job. You're reporting to top management. You don't have a supervisor. There's a supervisor supervising you. No, the Scrum Master job is already a leadership role. So the people you're going to be interfacing with is the stakeholders. These are the people who have the deep pocket. Let's say the venture capitalists, the Jeff Bezos, okay? Those men and women who have invested heavily. And there are a lot of products you and I use. You don't know that. You don't know there are big wigs behind this project. So what do you do as a Scrum Master? You collaborate with the stakeholders, informing them of the progress of that project, letting them understand that, you know what, this is what we've done now. This is how the project is progressing. So you're going to be having that collaboration. You're going to be promoting effective team communication. Okay, so Scrum is all about collaboration. Nobody's going to be working in silos. We're going to be working together as a team. The project management tool that we're going to be using helps to promote transparency and visibility. Okay, let's move to the next thing. All right, and see other things that you also need to do. Why Scrum Masters and more than project managers is not far-fetched, having said all of these things. Okay, now let's look at Scrum Masters and project managers are both important roles in the field of project management. That's absolutely true. The Scrum Master role and the project manager's role are important In fact, at the end of the day, we're all managing projects. But the way and manner at which we are managing this project is what distincts us, is what separates us. Now, if you go to LinkedIn, you probably want to do that as I speak. Go to your LinkedIn page and type project managers. You're not going to be seeing demand for project managers. You're going to be seeing something like agile project managers. You're going to be seeing something as Scrum Masters. Why are organizations making high demands for agile project managers? So they understand that you're a project manager, but they don't like the waterfall methodology, okay? The kind of projects organizations are building these days are complex, and waterfall methodology is not going to deliver. So for project managers who are already project managers, what do? They upskill. They join the Scrum classes, the Scrum mentorship classes to learn about Agile, because as I'm teaching you about Scrum, I'm also teaching you about Agile. They are in sync, they are aligned, okay? So at the end of the day, the project managers are not just project managers, they understand the waterfall methodology now, and they understand the Agile methodology. Now, let's explore some of the reasons behind this trend. However, Scrum Masters, okay, let's take a backtrack a little bit. I want to see the other, as I said, Scrum Masters have been found to earn higher salaries compared to project managers. Obviously, that's true. Let's move forward, Chukwemeka. Obviously, that is true. That is true. Okay, so I'm just going to give a little bit of story. I think that was last month ending. A recruiter reached out to me on LinkedIn. Again, guys, if you have your LinkedIn page optimized, these are the things that should be happening in your LinkedIn. Recruiters are going to reach out to you. Okay, so a recruiter reached out to me and said that they were looking for a Scrum Master in Nigeria, and the salary was 2.9. This is just an entry level because they are just coming into Nigeria. So they are setting up a team in Nigeria, a Scrum team in Nigeria. The company is headquartered in US. And now their starting salary monthly for Scrum Master is 2.9. All right. So what did we do internally? These are one of the things that when this job comes, reach out to our community, because we already have community of Scrum Masters, and they're getting their CVs and they get the job. But what am I saying? 2.9 is a starting salary. This is for somebody in Nigeria. Again, let's go back to the focus. Growing demand for Agile. Why are they going to pay you that much? Why are they going to pay you that much as a Scrum Master? The rise of Agile methodologies in companies has led to an increased demand for Scrum Master. Agile will not stop. I don't see Agile ending today because the methodology is tried, tested, and proven. The methodology is what you and I do every day and don't know is Agile. The methodology is what gets organizations money. At the end of the day, these organizations are all about their money. They're all about the figures. How much are we making on this product? How much are we making on this feature? How is this product making us money? They have an idea. They need to ship it to the market very fast to make sure that they're making money off it. Scrum Masters are specifically trained in Agile frameworks, making them valuable in organization adopting the Agile practices. Now, the high demand drives up salaries for Scrum Masters. I tell you, the high demand drives up salary. Now, for someone who is starting as a Scrum Master, taking that offer as a last month, it's just going to take that offer for a start, 2.9 monthly. But by the time you had worked 1 year, 2 years as a Scrum Master, you understand what value you bring to the table, and you're negotiating better. All right. So let's look at the next. Let's look at the next slide. If you have questions, feel free to drop it on the chat box, and I'm going to take them. Now, we'll focus on collaboration and teamwork. Agile is big on collaboration. Agile is big on teamwork. So this focus on collaboration and teamwork adds values to organization and justifies higher salaries for Scrum Masters. So what's that special effect about collaboration? So if we're working on a project, remember guys, the project is jollof rice. Okay, I don't want to talk about something really big, something you and I can relate to. If a Scrum team is working on a project called jollof rice, what are we doing? We're working together. It's an end-to-end project. It's not the front-end engineer going to do its own. The back-end engineer is going to do their own. Then later they will now come, back-end engineer will now tell front-end, oh, I'm done with what I'm doing. You go and check it. No, we're working together. If the back-end engineer is done with the API, he sends it to the front-end engineer right there to integrate it. Everything we're doing is in real time, within a time box. So there is nobody working in silos, and that is efficiency. Unlike in the organizations that you and I, in the organizations that you're working with, you see someone with a task that's not supposed to take you 1 hour. It's taking the person submitting the task. They gave you the task on Monday. You're submitting it on Friday or 5 hours later. No, in agile, there's efficiency, there's effectiveness, and that can only be achieved through collaboration. Now, Scrum Masters are responsible for facilitating collaboration and ensuring effective teamwork within the development teams, okay? And their role involves removing obstacles, like we talked about, fostering communication. There needs to be communication. Now, in a team where there is no collaboration, let's say, for instance, the backend engineer is done with the API. Now, because the backend engineer is working on his own, he probably wants to allow the front-end engineer to figure out when the API, let's say he's done with the API, this is 8:50 my time. So he completes a task now, he has an endpoint ready. And because there's no collaboration, he doesn't say anything. And maybe the next day, during the meetings, you guys know your usual organizational meetings, the next day, after several hours during the meeting, he now says, oh, my update this morning is that I've completed the endpoint for Goatsmith. And I think he's ready. That is when the front-end engineer knows that the endpoint is ready for him to integrate it. That's wrong. There's no efficiency there. There's no effectiveness there. Because remember that we are working on a timeline. When people bring out their money for a project, you need to give them value every now and then. And that's what Agile is saying. So with collaboration, when let's say Temitope is done with that backend endpoint, immediately Justin gets the prompt immediately that I am done with this. Temitope is done with the API, and Justin picks up the API to integrate as the front-end engineer. Now, there's emphasis on continuous improvement. What are these emphases? Agile methodologies emphasizes continuous improvement and adaptability. There's a whole lot I cannot unpack this evening, okay? But because of time, I'm looking forward to see everyone in the class in the next cohort so that we can break these things down and talk about it even more in-depthly. Okay, Scrum Masters are key drivers of this continuous improvement process, ensuring teams reflect on their performance and make necessary adjustments. This is where the sprint retrospective comes to play. All right, so the next thing is their ability to facilitate retrospectives and implement changes contributes to higher salaries. All right, these are things that we've talked about. Let's look at the next thing, Chukwemeka. What's next? Specialized skills and expertise. Scrum Masters undergo extensive training. Now, the money that you're going to be earning, first of all, I work with a foreign international organization, and you already know, okay? Now, working with them, I'm in Nigeria, makes me earn in foreign currency. And why are they going to pay you even better than a software engineer? These are things that you can look up in LinkedIn. Look up how much Scrum Masters earn. How much Scrum Masters earn, it will blow your mind. In fact, if I have to confess here and now, when I was looking to transition as a Scrum Master, I have zero tech background, first of all, let me put that out there. I started out my journey as a digital marketer, content writer. I studied business administration in school, nothing related. But when I heard the word Scrum Master, I was curious. I went online. The money was the motivator. The money was my biggest motivator. And I'm glad that I took that right step. Okay. So Scrum Masters undergo extensive training and certification. These are the things that Analytics is going to afford to you. And I know Chukwemeka is going to dwell on that much later. This specialization justifies higher salary in comparison to project managers. Actually, they are not anywhere in comparison to project managers. Now, project managers do not earn as much as a Scrum Master. You can go online and see these things for yourself. For project managers to earn as much as Scrum Masters, they need to upskill. project managers need to upskill for them to earn as much as the Scrum Masters, and that's them gaining the agile knowledge. So what you see online when recruiters are putting out those job roles, they're putting out agile, they're looking for agile project managers. In that case, they're saying, oh, we know you have an understanding of waterfall, but we want you to mix the two. Knowing agile is key for us, and with your project management background. Now, the specialized skills and expertise in agile project management make them highly sought after. That's it. That's it. That's what pays the bills. Okay. So let's look at the next thing. Chukwemeka, let's look at the next thing. What's next? So if you have questions, this is the time for you to drop the questions. And also when it's time for the Q&A, you can feel free to unmute and ask your questions. Scrum Masters in London, guys, look at this. Look at, and this is no, we're not making this up. We're not making this up. Now, I actually feel like Scrum Masters in Nigeria are shortchanged than Scrum Masters in any other part of the world. Okay, because one thing that we cannot start talking about on the call is how the international organizations know that there is market in the African community, and they come here and sort of try to exploit us, but that's not the discussion today. So they know that what they are paying is nothing compared to if they're going to be paying you in that country's currency where that organization is domiciled. But okay, so if you're in UK, this is the least you can earn. I'm talking about least because by the time you've gone through training, you have enough value to bring to the table to negotiate. A lot of Scrum Masters are leaving money on the table because you do not understand the value that you bring. And because you don't understand the value, that's lack of knowledge. There's a knowledge gap. There's a knowledge gap there. Now, Scrum Masters in the United States, the figures speak for itself. So I just don't want to go, back and forth. These are things that you can also browse and see. The figures are there. They speak for itself. In Nigeria, your starting salary, you are starting monthly is 2 points. Because it's let's say that's your first foray into Scrum. You're trying to gain experience. After your first, second year, you should be talking about negotiating better. And the beautiful thing as a Scrum Master is that you tend to work remotely. You can conveniently do 2 jobs. You're not the one programming. You're not the one actually building this application. You're the brain box. You just have multiple knowledge and strategies to get the work done timely. All right, let's look at the next thing, Chukwemeka.
I think that's where you're coming with Jira and showcase Jira.
Okay, we've ended everything on the slide. All right, cool. Yeah. Okay, so at this point, let me share my screen and hopefully I'll show you what project that we're currently working on. So if you have questions, Chukwemeka, help me see to those questions. All right, and we can pick that. Stop sharing screen. Okay. So yeah, I need to share my screen at this point. Okay, so I'm sharing the whole of my screen and hoping that my network cooperates with me. So as a Scrum Master, okay, delivering projects very timely using the Scrum framework, you're going to be using tools. Scrum Masters don't just operate on their own. All right. So just like every other career path, plumbers have tools. Every career path have their tools. And I saw someone asking, and the question was beautifully answered by Chukwemeka, saying the Scrum Masters use AI. The advent of AI is to make your job easier, no matter who you are, plumber, electrician, whatever career path that you choose. Okay, and Scrum Masters use it as well. All right, so going into, okay, so let me spin this up. So as Scrum Masters, you're going to be working with project management tools. Now, there are lots of project management tools. We have the Jira, which is one of the most popular project management tools. We also have Azure DevOps. We have Trello. We have Asana, Monday.com. There's a whole lot of them out there. So one of the things that you're going to be learning during the training is how to use this tool. It's not enough to just have theoretical knowledge of being a Scrum Master, you're going to be interpreting data, you're going to be talking with stakeholders, and for you to deliver um, projects timely first, very fast, you need to use the project management tool. This tool, alongside with your understanding of the Scrum framework, helps you do the magic. That's what pays the bill. Okay, so knowing the project management tool gives you an edge. That is where the hands-on experience comes into play. That is where the confidence comes in as a Scrum Master. So what I'm going to be projecting in a bit, if my network allows me to do that, is showing you the project management tools and all the projects that we have undertaken. Okay, so using the project management tool, especially Jira. What is Jira? When I talk about project management tools, guys, these things are not perfect. This is like using the video conferencing platform. Currently, the video conferencing platform that we're using is Zoom. And there are other ones. There's Google Meet, there's MS Teams there. So your understanding of using Zoom helps you to use every other one. Yes, a little bit of changes in Google that is not in Zoom, yeah, but they are all video conferencing tools. So your understanding of Jira helps you to know how to navigate other project management tools like Azure DevOps, like Trello, like Asana, name it. But what is most popular in organization is Jira, and that sort of takes the first thing. Okay, so let's look at our product backlog. Time will not permit us to show some things, but I can give you a glimpse into what we are currently working on in Analytics. So I can try to move this. There's enough thing. Okay. So first of all, please confirm, gentlemen and ladies, if my screen is visible. Why am I not able to move this? So can you guys see my screen? Chukwemeka, is my screen visible?
Yes, you can see it. You can see the product backlog.
Awesome. All right. So currently, what we're working on in Analytics is Shopalytics. What is Shopalytics? Shopalytics is an e-commerce store. Every one of us have shopped using different e-commerce platforms. So Analytics is looking at building projects. So what we're doing is real life projects. So when you join the Scrum mentorship, you're not going to be working on the dummy project, real life projects. And currently on my product backlog, there's a whole lot of user stories. When you're on an application, when you're on Instagram, for instance, and you want to post, you want to make a post, you click on an icon that enables you to post, an icon that says post. That icon, for you to do that successfully, when they were building that project, that icon and what the user is going to use it for. This is how all the applications you use started. This is the way you use your application. This is how it all started. So when you're effortlessly using an application, it started from the product backlog. It started by creating user stories. It started by prioritizing those user stories in the product backlog and taking them into the sprint backlog. And from the sprint backlog, we move them into the sprint and actually start implementing on them. Okay, so let's go to the reports. I'm trying to see if I can put a whole lot, measure a whole lot into the master classes. The time is never enough. Chukwemeka, the time is never enough. I don't know if we can do something about it, but yeah, we'll make do with what we have. So let's look at the velocity report. Like I said, as a Scrum Master, you're going to be interfacing a lot with the stakeholders. And part of interfacing with the stakeholders, you're going to be interpreting data. For you to use the Scrum principles that I talked about a few minutes an hour ago, to help the engineers deliver their features or their tasks or their increment faster, it takes a series of things. Part of it is data analytics. Yes, there's a data aspect of the Scrum Master's job, which helps you see the velocity report, the burn down charts, the burn up chart. All of this helps you interpret the data. So interpretation of the data helps the Scrum team to inspect and adapt based on the sprint that they're working on. And it also gives the stakeholders a glimpse on how this project is progressing. Okay, so there's a whole lot to talk about here. I cannot unpack. But I'm looking forward to the next masterclass and where we can probably deep dive into all of this. But most especially, I'm looking forward to the next course where we will talk about Scrum Master's principle, get our hands dirty on Jira, and before you know it, you're on your way to clinching a job. Okay. So hi Chukwemeka. Yeah, I think this is where we uh wrap it up from my end. Okay. I don't know if there are questions to look into. Should we take
Hi,
questions
Josephine.
or what do you think? Hi.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of questions in the chat box, but I don't know whether they are
Okay.
the ones who can take now or the ones who will take after I'm done with my own side.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's a good idea. I think you
All
should go
right,
for it first.
fantastic. Let me quickly share my own screen. Fantastic. So if you've been following us up to this moment, just drop a one in the chat box so that we know that people are following us and that we're not just talking to ourselves. So if you're following us till this moment, just drop a one in the chat box. And if you've not answered the reason why you joined this session, if you've not answered that exact question, please also do well to drop that question in the chat box. Okay. So if you've been with us up to this moment, okay, I can see a couple of one amazing. I can see one from Temitope, from Abiodun, from Mary, from Yusuf, from Babajide, from Yakubu. Amazing, amazing. That means I have, well, is it only 6 people that are following me on this call? 6 or 7 people. All right, others are dropping. Fantastic, fantastic. So I'm just going to walk us through your pathway to becoming a Scrum Master. What is that exact pathway that you can follow to become a full-fledged Scrum Master? Like Josephine has mentioned, there are clear distinctions between a project manager and a Scrum Master, and it boils down to extensive training that a Scrum Master has to undergo. Now, I'll simply walk you through what the program overview is for here at Analytics, right? So our programs here are fully 100% online led, right? They are virtual instructor online led. So what it means is that you are going to have someone like Josephine come into the classroom and walk you through from point A to point B of everything that you need to know, right? So they are 100% online led, where you also get to walk through 100 plus 10 plus classes, and up to 20 topics are going to be treated in the Scrum Master program. So what we did tonight is just a tip of the iceberg, right? So there is no possibility of us unpacking everything that Scrum Masters do or everything that relates to the Scrum Master program within just 2 hours, right? So, and it's also 100% job prospect visibility. So I'm going to walk you through this. What we do every year, before now, we don't offer the Scrum Master program, but after we analyze the World Economic Forum report for 2023, we realized that they listed a couple of jobs that are going to grow in 2024. Where are the demands going to come from, right? And from there, we're able to decipher that there is going to be an increase in the request for Scrum Masters, right? That means come 10 years down the line, the need for Scrum Masters will always be in vogue. And why is this so? Is because most companies are beginning to adopt agile methodologies. And who actually implements these agile methodologies? That's where the Scrum Masters come in. So after we saw that, we now decided to bring in Scrum Master program into the courses that we currently offer here at Analytics. So we review all these things and look at, okay, what's the trajectory that the world is facing? Which direction is the economy going to tilt towards? So from it, we're not able to know, okay, these are the courses that we are going to offer. And it doesn't just stop at that. We also look at, okay, all these courses that are going to be in high demand the coming year, which one has high return on investment? Which one also has easy to transition to? Because you can easily see that, okay, blockchain engineer is going to be in high demand. But the duration it will take a blockchain engineer to transition will be a couple of years. But for you as a Scrum Master, you can easily transition within a couple of months. So these are things that we put into consideration and now said, okay, we need to bring in the Scrum Master program into our own curriculum. And that's also why we've said that it's 100% job visibility for someone that completes the Scrum Master program. And of course, we offer hands-on practical sessions with exercises and projects. So what it means is that for all the topics that you are going to be treating, it's going to be fully practical backed, right? It's not just going to be about you talking about theoretical aspects where after the sessions you are going to forget. No. For example, if you're talking about things that relate to product backlog, you are entering into Jira and you are instantly working on building a product backlog for a project. For example, you saw how we Josephine showed you the one that is currently going on with Shopalitics. We'll have the one for delivery app. We'll have a couple of projects running on and on for each cohort that starts. And of course, there is a high salary for Scrum Masters, like we've mentioned. If I go a couple of slides back, you can easily see what the salary prospects are when compared to a project manager. For example, somewhere in UK, the average salary is 58,000 plus, right? But for project managers, the average salary is 48,000 plus, right? That's in UK. That's in dollars as well. In US, the average salary for Scrum Master is 115,000 Canadian dollars, right? And in that's dollars, I mean. And also for project managers, it's roughly 99,000 plus. And then for Scrum Masters in Canada, the average salary is 89,000 Canadian dollars plus. And also for project managers, the average salary is roughly 87,000 plus. So you can always see the difference in the salary, the take home for all these for between Scrum Masters and project managers, bringing it down to our African scope, right? So it was hard for us to actually use a particular currency with respect to Africa, because here in Africa we have the Naira, we have the Cedis, we have almost all the countries are using different currencies. So I had to bring it home. Let's look at the Naira. So the average salary for someone that is certified Scrum Master in Nigeria is roughly between 3.5 to 4.9 million. That's between 3.5 to 5 million, right? But we now had to look at what is the average salary for someone earning a project manager here in Nigeria. And we're seeing something within 335,000 Naira per month. So there's a clear distinction between your take home as a Scrum Master and your take home as a project manager. And all this thing boils down to you have continuously improved yourself to learn the Scrum methodologies, the Agile methodologies, and you're now helping companies to apply this in their own daily proceedings. And this is something that will always result to you having high return on your own investment. Also, looking at it from the aspect of an industry relevant certification, once you are done training with us, you can conveniently write your PSM, which is a certified Scrum Master, right? You can comfortably write your CSM program. So everything that we are going to give you in the classroom will prepare you for the skill and competence that you need for your real life activities. It will also prepare you for you to now do what you call a continuous improvement and get all those certifications, right? And you also have lifetime access to materials and experts. So what this means is that once you are training with us, you are in the Google Classroom, right? So where you have access to the materials that your facilitators are going to use. An amazing part of it is that you also get to have the video recording of any session that you miss. So the way we are having this conversation tonight and it's being recorded, that's how your sessions, your classrooms, all your activities are also going to be recorded. And once the sessions are done, it is instantly uploaded to your Google Classroom. And you have lifetime access to this Google Classroom. At any point you want to make a reference to any material, you can always go back to that exact Google Classroom and read that exact material again. And also, the program offers you the opportunity to add at least 3 projects to your portfolio. So while you are in the classroom, you will get to work on case studies, minor case studies that you can easily add to your portfolio. And also, you at the end of it, you have what we call the internship program, where you get to work on a full-fledged project together with the business analysts, the stakeholders, the software developers, and you get to work on a real life project and get to see it come to reality. And like I mentioned, we also have the 1 month training internship that we also give you. So the Scrum Master program lasts for 1 month, which means for 4 consecutive weekends, you are going to be training with us. And afterwards, you now move on to the internship stage where you get to also work on a full-fledged project from beginning to end. So like I mentioned before now, this is just like a story map for how you can get to become a Scrum Master. And it starts with you having the course that we call the Introduction to Scrum. And after it, you get to move into the Scrum flow. From it, you move to the Scrum theory and values. From it, you move to the Scrum team and then the Scrum artifact, where you get to work on product backlogs. For example, you want to build something like, let's assume you want to build a mobile app for a fintech, right? What are the initial things that you need for this mobile app to come to reality, right? You now talk about, okay, you need the login page, you need the profile, you need to gather the requirements of the person. So these are the things that you add to user stories in the product backlog. And our facilitators are going to walk you through how you get to do this from beginning to end. From there, you now move towards the Scrum artifact, how you do you implement your increments, how you now move and do your sprint planning, and then of course development work and daily Scrum. On daily basis, sometimes we do what we call daily Scrum. For example, when we're in the banking industry, we used to have this thing that we call daily stand-up meeting, right? So there in the bank, it's just called a daily stand-up meeting. But that is them applying Scrum methodologies in the banking sector. So what do? We just come early in the morning, everybody say, okay, what did you do the previous day? What's your plan for today? And within 15 minutes, everyone is done. And from there, we now move on to our daily activities. But here, you're going to be taught how to organize and handle a full-fledged daily Scrum. And then you move towards your sprint review and, of course, your sprint retrospective. And lastly, you have what we call the Nexus Scaled Scrum, which is the highest form of Scrum events that you are going to have, after which you now become a full-fledged Scrum Master, right? So all these things we offer to you. And why do you have to train with us? Like I've mentioned, we've helped over 2,000 plus people transition into the tech ecosystem across so many areas here in Africa, in UK, US, Europe. And we also have industry standard curriculum where you get to see the real life things that current Scrum Masters are working with. What's the adoption in the industry? These are the things that you get to also practice here in the classroom, because we bring in experts from industries, from so many areas, from Access Bank, from KPMG, from so many areas that I can think of, to come into class and train you. And like I've mentioned, the training model is blended, that you can be live present in the class and you also have the recording that you always get to watch at the end of the session. And aside this, we also have sessions that get to help you land your first job in the industry. And the sessions I'm talking about boils down to your CV review session, LinkedIn optimization session, interview preparation session, and so much more. And how have we arranged this for you? So there's what we call our employability services that we also provide to our students. And this excludes the initial skill and competence training that we are giving to you. And that's it. Number one in the level one is CV review session. So we've noticed that people struggle to land job these days because of what we call, we have gamified job application, right? So people just go to LinkedIn and they just click on easy apply, easy apply, easy apply, right? But here at Analytics, we are going to teach you how to match your CV to the job that you are applying to make sure that it is ATS compliant. Sorry about that. And after that, we move you towards the LinkedIn optimization session, where you can also get to meet recruiters and also land jobs right on LinkedIn. Right? There's a job I did way back, and how the recruiter met me was through LinkedIn entirely. Right? The recruiter reached out to me, hi Chukwemeka, we have to offer, we have to vacancy. I simply asked, okay, send me the job description. I applied, and they called me. I did the consultancy job, and I left. Right? So on LinkedIn, once your profile is fully optimized, you can easily get all these sort of jobs and gigs that you can always make money from. And we also have the Upwork optimization session that if you want to play in the contractual phase, that you want to be in Nigeria and you're working for a company in US or Canada or UK as the case may be, you will learn how this can be done through Upwork. And of course, we have sessions that teach you how to navigate the job market. For example, yesterday we have a session on how to use the interviewsby.ai to make use and prepare yourself for interview. Right, this is an AI platform that helps you, run simulations on the possible things that you are going to experience when you go for interviews. And these are things that we teach you here as Analytics. And like I mentioned, job interview prep sessions where if you get an interview invite, you book a session with us, and people in industry like Josephine and myself will get to prep you and run you through all the possible things that you are going to experience on your interview sessions. And if by any chance your school or a later job asks for a reference, we are also here to provide this reference to you. Level 2 is our weekly mentorship session, right? So because industry is always growing, we tend to bring in experts from the exact domain that you are in to come back to the classroom to talk to you on these things that you need to know. So they walk you through, okay, these are the challenges I faced in my own time. These are the things I did to be able to, overcome them so that you not face that same challenge. And of course, we also provide on the job support that if you get a job and you are still struggling to find your fitting, we are here to help you 1 month into your job to make sure that you can easily flow with everything that you need to do. And our level 3 promise is that 1 month that you are done training with us, you will definitely get 1 job interview invite. And all these things are because of our layered approach that we do to these things, with our body mentorship that we offer, where people come back to the class to talk to you, with our enhanced internship program, where you get to work on a project with business analysts, with software developers, and of course with stakeholders, where we sort of simulate what is going to happen real life and you experience it in your own internship. And of course, we have partnership recruitment agencies in UK, Canada, and US with Harvey Nash, with Robert Half, Michael Page, where once you are done doing all these processes, you are placed in a pool that once any of them reaches out to us and say, hi, Chukwemeka, we have need for a Scrum Master, we are instantly going to recommend you to them. And now you will now prove yourself and you are definitely going to get that job. We also walk through the aspect of how you can freelance and fully get remote jobs as Scrum Masters and be able to earn in dollars. So please ensure you put your name in the attendance sheet so they can easily get this slide and also get the recording at the end of the session for you to be able to go through these exact links that I've attached here fully for you. So someone was asking, what's the payment for this like? So I'm going to jump right into that exact section. So for the Scrum Master program, it goes for just $450. And it goes for £375, 440 euros, 375 Canadian dollars, and of course, 540,000 naira. And then we have discounted this to 20% for you to be able to get into this exact tech industry. But this is not really for everyone. It's just for the first 30 people to get into this program, right? And once that 30 people are filled up, we reverse back to our normal full amount. So this discounted pricing is simply $360 and £300 or £350 euros or 540 Canadian dollars, and of course 450,000 naira. How can you make this payment? So it's simply by you clicking on the link that my colleague has dropped in the comment section. So once you click on that link, it's going to instantly bring you to the place we call the Analytics enrollment page, right? It's going to bring you to the Analytics enrollment page, which I'm currently displaying on my screen. So once you are on that Analytics enrollment page, what you simply have to do is to scroll down scroll down till you see the Scrum Master program. But just go through this pricing. You can easily see that the Scrum Master program is the only course that we are selling differently because it is a new program we are offering. That is why the pricing is so low. So when I mentioned that this is the best time for you to get into the tech industry to be a Scrum Master, it is actually true. Because if you're looking to transition through the other channels, you get to pay way higher fees, right? So like I mentioned, for you to make payment, simply click on the link that my colleague has dropped in the comment section and scroll down, you will see the Scrum Master link. So once you click on it, it's going to bring up the option for you to register for this exact course, right? So my screen is coming up and it's going to show us what we need to see in a moment. So once you click on the Scrum Master program, it's going to bring up the main stack stuff for you to pay for this. So what do you have to do? It picks the exact location that you are currently in, right? So because I'm in Nigeria, it's picking the NGN. So if you're in UK, it's going to pick the pound option, right? If you're in US, it's going to pick the dollar option. If you're in Canada, it's going to pick, of course, the Canadian dollar option. So what do I have to do? I simply have to click on the reserve a seat option, right? Once I click on the reserve a seat option, it will bring me to the checkout information page where I simply have to put my name, put my email address, put my phone number. First of all, I have to select the country flag that I'm currently resident in, that's Nigeria, and I put my phone number and simply click on proceed. So once I click on this proceed, it's going to bring up the option for me to make this payment. So you see, it's as smooth as that. So if I'm willing to make payment through the card option, I will simply put my card details and put the card expiry date to CVV, click on pay and simply go on. If I want to make use of the transfer option, I'll simply come to transfer and it will automatically bring out the bank I will make payment to. I'll simply copy the address and make the transfer and simply click on I've sent the money. So once you are done doing all these things, the next thing you will do after making that payment is simply go back to that same link, right? Go back to that same link that you logged in through and click on upload a receipt. So on that same link, like I'm showing you right now, you see the option to upload your receipt. So back to the enrollment center, you go to this exact place and upload your receipt, and that is it, right? So once you get into this exact slot, you just have to fill in the details that will pop up for you, and then put the attachments of your payment receipt, and simply that you are into the program. And what will happen is that one week before the classes start, someone from our company will reach out to you to provide the necessary things that you need regarding getting into the class, right? So all these things we have done to make sure that you can be able to get into the classroom. Remember, the pricing as of now is a 20% discount. And these things we offer on month-to-month basis. People always complain, oh, the pricing is much. As at last month, we offered a 33% discount. As at March, it was fully a 50% discount. But this month is just a 20%. So by next month, there is no guarantee that there will be a discount at all. So what do you have to do? Remember, this is just for the first 30 people. And once that 30 slot is filled up, the discount is automatically revoked. So simply scan what I have on my screen right now so that you can immediately start the process of getting into this class. Remember, the program starts by 8th June 2024. We will have the the June cohort into the classroom. A couple of months ago, we have a lot of media publication where we've done, hackathon for 1 million up for grabs. We've also helped people across Africa, 4 continents to land tech job. And that's what business they carried, Nairametrics, Punch, So if you have any concern regarding any of this, just make sure you fill your attendance form so at the end of this session, you can easily get the full recording of it and, of course, the slide that we used for it. So I will take a couple of questions. And also, if you want to speak to us right here, just use the raise hand icon and I'm going to ask you to unmute so that I can instantly speak to us. All right, Jimmy is asking, can I pay now and start the program by November? Hi, Jimmy. So that's a long stretch, right? So the futures trade that you're about to take with us is actually a long period of time. So what we do is that you can make payments right now in May. Instead of you starting in June, you can start in July. So we only have the option for you to extend, to defer your starting date by 1 month, right? So Timmy, what you can do is that if you make payments now, you'd start by July cohort if you don't want to start by May. All right. I don't know if that makes sense to you. So why this is so is because pricing is always a continuum. We make payments to Google Classroom, we make payments to Zoom, we make payments to Gmail for the classroom that we're making. Because of that, you can't really quantify what is going to happen by November, but we can only quantify for next month, right? Sorry about that. And that's why we've made provision for you to extend by 1 month. So I don't know if that makes sense to you, Jimmy. Timmy. Okay, so let me look through and see if there are other questions here. What is the cost of the training by Temitope? So Temitope, I believe I have handled that right now. So if you're in Nigeria, the payment is 450,000. If you're in Canada, it's 540 Canadian dollars. If you're in any of the European countries that makes up euro, that's 350 euros. If you're in UK, that's 300 pounds. And if you're in US, that's 360 dollars. What I also advise people to do most time is that is what we call, you can lock down this pricing, right? Oh, wow. Can anyone hear me? Hi, Adam. Hi, Joseph. Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right, fantastic. I think my second screen, the display just went off. That's why I got worried. So that's what we always call, you can lock down the pricing for now because the pricing is 540,000 for you to, get the full Scrum program. You can lock down the pricing by making a payment of 350,000 naira. And then before the program starts, you now make the complete payment, right? So what it means is that you are making part payment before the 8th of June. And right before you can get into the class, you can now make the complete payment. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone right now. Okay, so that is an option that we give people that at least want to get into the program, but pricing is a little bit challenging to them. All right, so Inchedo is asking, is there a provision for reference after the training for someone in the UK? Of course, Inchedo, we provide reference letters to people in UK, US, Germany, no matter where you are joining us from, we always provide reference that you can make use of that. When you were working at analytics, that you comfortably worked on the Shopalytics project where you get to use Jira to build your own user stories, right? So these are things that we are going to put in your reference letter that you made use of here at analytics. So, for example, last week, because we always have reports on this, we provided around 16 reference letters for people across the globe. And that's from people from the past cohorts that we have handled. Okay. What's the duration of the Scrum training? So the training is for 2 months, where you get to be in the class for a massive training for 1 month, right? For 4 weekends, you are going to be trained massively in the class, after which you now move to what we call the internship program, where you get to work on projects. And these are just on Saturdays and Sundays, right? So the classes are from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time on Saturdays, and from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. West African time on Sundays, right? So I don't know if that makes sense to you, Inchedo. Okay, you said thank you, and that means I have answered your question. I've answered Timmy's own. So if you have any question, please drop it in the chat box. I've answered Temitope. Yakubu is asking, I need an IT skill to boost my career and get financial freedom. Amazing, Yakubu. So you are on the right spot. So the easiest way for you to transition into the tech industry is actually the Scrum Master program, because it is the only course that you don't have to do anything coding, right? And when it comes to pricing as well, it is the cheapest that we are currently offering. And this is just simply because we are just starting the Scrum Master program, right? We started it this year. Other programs have been running it for the last 4 years. But Scrum Master, we started it this January, and that is why the pricing is still what it is today. So I always advise people to take advantage of the exact pricing that it is to get into this tech ecosystem. Because 3 months, 4 months down the line, it is going to be a lot different from what you are seeing at the moment. Okay, I don't know if there are other questions for me to take. I think someone raised his hand. Let me check and ask him. Oh, hi, Temitope. I'm going to ask you to unmute now so that you are going to speak to us. Hi, Temitope. You have the floor, please.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Chukwuemeka. I hope you can hear me.
Loud and clear, I can hear you.
Yeah, please, I have a network glitch. So about the question I asked on the chat, so I didn't get that. I just got the information now. I just got the information that you don't need to have any programming background for you to start the Scrum Master training.
Not at all, Temitope. So just, I don't know whether you are there so that I can at least tell them your own story that you didn't even do. I think you studied public administration or
Yeah.
All right,
yeah,
so please
right. And yeah, exactly. So in school I studied nothing next to IT, not talk more of technology. Okay. And then coming out of school, I just, made my way into digital marketing. Later went into content writing. So, that was where the curiosity started from. Writing content, I needed to write content in Scrum, and I was just curious. So being curious led me to start researching about Scrum. And I told myself, I've always wanted to do tech, but I was just not cut out for coding. I was not cut out for learning programming languages. These things were really difficult, were really hard, and it takes a lot of time. So seeing Scrum, seeing that I was a leadership role, seeing that I can earn as much as an engineer, software engineer would earn and even more, and understanding that what it takes is just to understand the Scrum framework, that was the game changer for me, right? So you don't need to have any prior tech knowledge, and you don't need to go to school to learn computer engineering, nothing of sort. All you need is, first of all, come with that hungry mindset, meaning that you're joining the Analytics Scrum course, hungry to learn Scrum end to end. To also get your hands dirty, to do the projects and everything that we're going to be dishing out to you. Okay. So basically, that is it. Thanks.
All right.
All right, Temitope. I don't know.
Yeah, I have another question.
All right, go ahead, please.
Please, a lot of things do happen. People come online and say stuff, and when you commit, it's not what they've said. You begin to see a different thing. And maybe, I don't know, but from experience, I've had the experience that people come online like this and say stuff, and when you begin the training, it's another different thing entirely. You begin to struggle, you begin to, feel agitated about it. So I want to ask, please, number one, is Tenalytica registered with CAC?
All right, fantastic question, but yeah, we are registered. We are a registered company, and we have been operating for the past 4 years across the globe. All right.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so I
So
think
that's
what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to bring up a couple of success stories so that you can easily see what our past students had to say about us. Okay, so I'll bring up the story of a lot of people. For example, someone like Ini Ababio. Ini had an interview for a managerial role, but on getting to that exact spot, in because of the how Ini's CV was packed, Ini got the CEO role of that exact place. So I'm currently bringing up my screen so that I can run a couple of success stories for us to see what past students had to say regarding analytics. And you can also do your own research.
She's
You
stuck.
get to see
And
all
I
these things right
Hi
there on
everyone, my
YouTube.
name is
All right.
Imat, and I was with the March cohort in Analytics, and joining Analytics has been the best decision so far. You know, for me, someone coming from a background of full housewife, because I had to stay back home to look after my child for 4 years, and then wanting to break into something new, wanting to go back into the workforce, you know, wanting to place myself in the society for better job opportunities. So it was a lot. And then I'm glad that Analytics came along, and then they presented me with so many opportunities right in front of me, better opportunities. And then I'm glad I took it. And then also the advice of do not sell yourself short. That if it is always saying it is very, very valid, because place yourself right, you know, don't sell yourself short. It's a very, very, very valid advice. You know, in analytics, they will hold your hands like a child, you know, through the modules. You have the opportunity to go back and study, you have the opportunity to go back and practice, you have the opportunity to ask questions, you know, you have people you can always go back to even outside of class hours. It's the most amazing experience so far, really. And then another thing is the interview prep, guys. That is another very important thing. I did my interview prep with Mr. Mohammed, and it is the best decision ever, because he was like he saw into the future. He knew what was going to be asked, and I'm glad that I wrote down all the things he mentioned. I went back to practice, and then when it was time for the interview, it was like everything he was mentioning, everything he mentioned, it was just they kept on. And then when I was answering those questions, I was so confident, you know, because I already practiced. I did an Excel test, I did a math test, and then they were really impressed. And another thing is, guys, it may not come as fast as you expect. Definitely, you are going to get some no's, and then you may begin to think you're not good enough. You are good enough, yes. The no's will come, but always take it as a basis for learning and development, because after every interview where I got a no, I always make sure I get a personal feedback. So I work on those feedbacks for my next interviews. And yes, it worked. It really worked for me, because I got my first job 3 months into the program, my first job. But I couldn't take up the job because I was a student, and I was only eligible to work 20 hours. So I couldn't take up the job. 3 months later, I got 2 jobs with full visa sponsorship. And guys, all the other no's before the 2 jobs prepared me for the yeses I got. So yes, the no's will come, but do not give up, because you always have analytics to go back to. They are the best, and the best thing that's ever happened to me. And then yes, and they are the most affordable, one I've come across so far. And that's a very good advantage. So yes, analytics for the win.
I don't know if that makes sense to you, Temitope. So we have lots and lots of success stories from our past students, right? So that is why we always advise people to put in their name in the attendance form so they can get to go through all these success stories that people have had to say about us. So I mentioned about Ini earlier. This is Ini. So Ini did data science, and just 1 month, once he concluded his program by January, he got a job by that January. So someone like Ikmat finished just 3 months into her own program. She got 2 offers, but she was not able to take it because of the limitations to her working hours in the UK. But 1 month after she was done, she got 2 extra offer that she now had to make her choice on the place that she wants to be. And right now, she's comfortably working in UK with full visa sponsorship. So we have lots and lots of success stories from lots of people that have passed through us. So please just ensure to go through it so that you can easily see what others had to say regarding us. For someone like Ini mentioned that it was the CV prep session and how his own CV was modified that made him fall in love with analytics. People had so many diverse areas. For some, it was for the mentorship session. For some, it was the skill they acquired, right? So it depends on the background area you are coming into the program with. But be rest assured that you are definitely not going to live here the same that you came. So I don't know if that makes sense to you, Temitope.
Yeah, it makes sense, and I want to appreciate you, Mr. Chukwemeka, for the training and for the opportunity.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Temitope. All right. All right. So I think Deme Funabiodu is asking, please, the breakdown of the price again. I missed that. All right, fantastic. I'm going to run through it. I don't know if you are still there, Abiodun. Let me quickly check if you are here at Deme Phone. Okay, you are still here. So basically, for the pricing, we are currently running a 20% discount, right? And what it means is that you get to enter the program by just paying $360 or 300 pounds or 350 euro or 540 Canadian dollar, and of course 450,000 naira. So depending on your own location, once you click or scan this barcode, you will instantly be on the Analytics enrollment page. And from there, you just scroll down to the Scrum Master program, click on it, and then you will see the option to make your payment. So it's as easy as that. And what I always advise people is that this discount is only for the first 30 people to join this cohort. So once this exact slot is filled, we reverse back to the original full amount. So I always advise people to take advantage of it, even if your pricing is not yet complete. Once you log in and click on the Scrum Master program, you can see the least amount you can pay. So once you make payments of that, you've locked down that exact pricing. And before the classes start, we are now expected to make the complete payment for you to be inside that class. So that means if you make maybe 350,000 naira payments now, it means that by the 8th of June, we are expected to make the extra amount, 200,000 that is spending for you to get into that class. Okay, I don't know if that makes sense for you, Abiodun. All right, so if you have any question, Olayiwola Yusuf, you have a question. I'm going to ask you to unmute right now, Yusuf. All right, I'm searching through. Okay, Yusuf, I've asked you to unmute. Hi, Yusuf, you have the floor, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chukwu. Yeah. So I really appreciate you and the other lady. You guys really did fantastic, right? I want to comment on what Mr. On the concern of Mr. Tokwe. You know, I've taken some program with data and the analytics in the past. I did financial analytics, so they are real, and their program cannot be compared. I've tried many online programs. You can't compare an analytics program. It's one of the best. I can confirm to you. I started with them when the program was still 60K. And then they had this finance arrangements. Then I don't know whether they still use it, FinQuest, right? So that's why I'm trying to even want to confirm whether they still have that kind of partnership with FinQuest, where we can pay instrumentally. Because looking at dollar rate, I understand them going from 60K then way back now to 450K is a lot of money. So I don't know whether they still have that kind of arrangement where the finance company can come in and we pay instrumentally. They pay on our behalf, then we start paying instrumentally to the finance company.
All right. Thank you for that, Yusuf. It's amazing to have an alumni here. And just to also mention, myself, I'm an alumni of analytics, right? So I did my own data
Wow.
analytics program way back in 2020. As I did, I paid 35,000 naira, right? So it's a
Wow.
funny
Wow.
thing
You're even
seeing
my
how
senior.
exactly seeing how the entire thing has evolved, right?
Yeah.
And that was when they were also running a program that I did mine in 2020. But fast forward to 2024, the pricing is almost times 10, more than times 10, right? And that's why I always advise people to take advantage of this program at any point they see it. So from 35,000 from data analytics, I did cybersecurity and a couple of courses then. And that's why I'm where I am today, right? So for the finance arrangement that you mentioned, so there was a little bit of hiccup with that, which is why we currently do not offer that option. But what we can do for you is that I'm going to drop an email in the chat box, Elijah at Tenalytics. So just send a request to this email address, and anyone that has same request can send an email to Elijah at analytics.org. Okay, my colleagues have also dropped it, and then we can make an arrangement and hear you out specifically and know how you want it to run. So I don't know if that makes sense to you, Yusuf. Okay, I think you have muted. Okay, that will be hard for you to unmute again. Okay, so you can type in the chat box to tell me that you have heard me loud and clear. Olaiwola Yusuf. It's really amazing to have people speak for us on sessions like this. So it's nice to have you here, Yusuf. Okay, for Abimbola David, David, you joined quite late. So what I would advise to fill the attendance form so that you get the recording of this session and also get the slide that we use. But in summary, everything we've mentioned is to tell you how amazing it is for you to transition into the Scrum Master program and how it is also the easiest way for you to get in without writing any single line of code. So if that interests you, just scan this barcode and you see the options for you to register for the Scrum Master program. And we are currently running a 20% discount for the first 30 people to get into the classroom. And once this 30 slot is filled, we revert back to the exact pricing. Okay, so if you have any question, anyone, please don't hesitate to use the raise hand icon and I will ask you to unmute, or you can drop your question in the chat box and I'm going to take it up from there. We are gradually approaching the 10 p.m. hour mark for us to round up this session. So if you have any question for us, the best time to do so is now before we round up. Hi, Josephine. I don't know whether you have any round up comments for people on the call before we call it a night from here.
What I want to say is if a lot of people are looking to transition and people to know very well in your heart that coding is not your thing, learning programming language is not your thing, then Scrum is it for you. Scrum is one of the easiest paths to take. And you know the beautiful thing about Scrum is that you get to work with every other skill set in going to be collaborating with the software engineer, the DevOps engineer, the data analyst, the BA. I mean, name it, all the skill sets in the tech ecosystem, you're going to be collaborating with that. All you needed to do to be part of the tech ecosystem is to understand the Scrum framework. Okay, so no more, take that step now. And in 2 months from now, you'll be proud that you did. Thanks, guys. See you guys in the next class. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much, Josephine. Thanks for that closing words of advice. So at this point, we are going to call it a night, and I'm just going to drop it here. The best time to get into the tech ecosystem is yesterday. Like Yusuf mentioned, like I mentioned, some of us transitioned when we were just able to pay 35,000, 60,000, and we got cybersecurity, data analytics, financial analytics, as the case may be. The best possible time for you to do that right now is today, because tomorrow might be too late. So I always advise people take advantage of the pricing at any point you meet it, because by next week, by next 2 weeks, it's going to be a different ball game. Thank you so much, everyone, for being with us till this very moment. I can't wait to see you all come June 8th in the Scrum Master program. Thank you all once more and see you then. Bye for now. Till next time. Cheers, guys.